Hello again, and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover, as we got Xzibit recently speak on Eminem's position in hip-hop history, where he referred to Eminem as hip-hop royalty. And today we also have more from Nelly, who briefly spoke about the history of his brief beef with Eminem. And according to Nelly, this was all a misunderstanding, and he broke it down, which we'll expand on in a moment. And starting with Xzibit's take on Eminem's place in hip-hop history. The timing of this interview coincides with efforts on platforms like X, where we see users, probably teenagers or bots, band together to diminish Eminem's legacy. As the wave of posts like these continue, Eminem sucks so bad, dude, LOL. Even his quote classic era is like 90% unlistenable. And to give you the angle to understand where this is coming from, the user followed up with this. This is how you know hardcore Eminem fans are racist, because there is no other way they could possibly believe he's the greatest of all time. And my favorite lyric card from the death of Slim Shady made an appearance in a response that goes, saying Eminem's classic catalog is unlistenable when his greatest hits album still charting weekly pretty much all around the globe is stupid as F, facepalm emoji. No wonder he spitted this bar for people like you. And it is always hilarious when this lyric card makes an appearance. And back to Xzibit's recent take on Eminem's place in hip-hop history. Check out a snippet from Big Boy TV.
Marshall Mathers. Okay, so you see rappers and then you see legends, right? Eminem is a legend. There will always be a place for him in the history books of this thing of ours. Marshall is definitely, when you say a savant in a way, when it comes to hip hop and how he appreciates it and loves it. He feels the same way I do, that hip hop saved my life. And I will always, give my 110%. And when I don't feel like that, I'm not going to do it. So I feel like Marshall has claimed his spot in hip hop royalty. I think that I have a tremendous amount of respect for his team, Paul, Tracy, everybody at Goliath. He's had the same people around him since the beginning.
Yeah, man.
And that speaks volumes as well. So, Eminem, Marshall Mathers, that's the homie.
And the efforts to diminish his legacy looks to be daily on social media, as we got another go-to in recent years when it comes to the tactic on social media. Like this one, for instance, Mac Miller is comfortably the best white rapper ever, and we had to drop a reminder of what it was like when Mac Miller was still alive, referring to a tweet from his friend back then when the friend reviewed the conversation they had after Astroworld dropped. And it is wild because even Cardi B lashed out a few years back when it comes to this fake love linked to Mac Miller after he passed. And back then we even covered it and it made headlines. Cardi B calls out cyberbullying of Mac Miller. Yeah, I don't care till somebody is gone. And back then she reminded the hypocrites on X about the viral post they made after he crashed his car. And this was when he was still referred to as Ariana's boyfriend. But today he's become the greatest white rapper, which is pretty much just a vehicle to drive their Eminem hate. They don't really care about Mac Miller. And moving on to our next point, we got Nelly briefly speak about the short-lived beef he had with Eminem in the 2000s. And we gotta find out more from Nelly on the Bootleg Kev podcast. Check out a snippet.
Did you and Eminem have any, because there was a certain point in time where
miscommunication.
But you and Eminem were like the biggest selling artists in the world. Very different, obviously. But like, did you guys ever have any sort of conversation then?
Well, this was the thing. I misinterpreted something when I was really, really new. And, I wanted to apologize to him, you know what I mean? But I was at a time where, I'm coming in, I'm the new guy, anybody talking, from the Lou.
What was it that you misunderstood?
Well, somehow I misinterpreted that he had something to say about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And when I went on MTV, I made some comments because, I'm still fresh from the Lou. I'm ready. It's up. Like, where you at?
Now, before we continue, he's talking about this moment from MTV.
How do you feel about Eminem? I don't play with candy, you know what I'm saying? I eat M&Ms flat out, you know what I'm saying? I don't smash on them like that, you know? So, official drama.
And this has been resolved for some time now, as even a while back, an interviewer caught up with him live, and this was what he had to say about Eminem.
Would you ever get into like any kind of beef with Eminem?
I like him, so I'm gonna leave that there.
Who's the better rapper, Nelly?
I gotta go.
And back to the video, he expanded.
When I went on MTV, I made some comments because, you know, I'm still fresh from the loo. I'm ready. It's up. And he's like, where you at? But that wasn't the case, man. And he's a GOAT, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's so dope. And when that was going on, I forgot who we was in Detroit and we were at an after party. And somebody came and was like, yo, M wanna come through and holler. And I'm like, okay, you know. And when he came, man, and he's such a dope cat. I think he had I think he had Haley with him.
Yeah, his daughter.
She was young.
She probably loves you.
Oh,
you're on TRL every day.
That's what he was like. He was like, yo, man, my daughter, I was like, I felt like a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, yo, I felt like a dick, man. And because we were Eminem fans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just miscommunication, man. And he's a dope cat, man. He's a dope cat. And I'm glad we got that out the way. Cause you know, it was
a sales rivalry going.
Yeah, but it's fucked up when people that you fuck with and that you admire on a level, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, dude spits.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate all factors of hip hop. I appreciate the battle rap,
of course,
because St. Louis is huge for battle rap. Shout out to Hitman Holla and Verb. And, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the battle rappers that come up out of there, and you know, we appreciate that side, and we got hit makers as well and things like that. So yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad we squashed that, man, because M is a cat.
He's one of them guys.
Yeah.
And for some fans, this is news. I didn't even know Eminem and Nelly had a beef, LOL laughing emojis, and some have expanded in response to Nelly giving Eminem his flowers. Agreed, he somehow gets overshadowed. His impact was revolutionary. And more on this note, I'm glad Eminem is getting his flowers while he's still here, instead of the fake Twitter love he gets when he's gone. And perhaps this is coming from someone who has clearly seen the Mac Miller thing that's been going viral lately. And it is wild because some have taken issue with Nelly for those comments, with takes like, why do people think because clowns call Eminem the GOAT, that means blacks gotta fall in line? The black community don't like Eminem, we just tolerate him.
We? We.
I guess we found another quote unofficial speaker of the black community, another person to add to the long list that includes El Jamar and Dr. Umar among others. And to be honest, the 2000s was hectic when it comes to the competition in hip-hop music, and they were all hugely successful. At the peak of the competition, even back in 2024, Nelly expanded on how the competition was stiff in that era, one that Nelly describes as the hardest era in hip-hop music. Check out a snippet from The Shop.
Nelly, coming from the Lou, did you ever have chip on your shoulder? Because everything was LA, New York. We always talk about that with the Midwest, man. Like,
goddamn right.
Yeah?
Goddamn right. But you gotta understand, my era of music was the toughest era in hip-hop ever. Ever. When I put out songs, I had to go against DMX,
Eminem,
Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, Luda.
Nah.
Yeah.
All of us are fighting for one spot. So from 99 to like 2008, 10, it's the hardest era ever to get records.
Units in Pimp Juice and us.
And even back then, it sparked reactions like, Nelly isn't lying at all. I'm 34, so that's my childhood. Jay-Z, M, Nas, Luda, 50, Ja, DMX, Wayne, Missy, Fab, Fat Joe, Lil Bow Wow, T.I., Busta, Outkast, Trick Daddy, Kanye, Game, Snoop, Chingy, Master P, Jeezy, Lil Jon, Mike Jones, and Paul Wall. It was very competitive early 2000s, and you actually had to have creativity and bars. Today, rap is absolute trash. Not even rap is rock, and every region back then sounded different. What a concept, individuality. Back then, hits were actually hit records. Some punk sitting in his grandma's living room, mumbling is a hit now, rap is dead 2024. And of course, you know this is a controversial take, and as expected, it sparked heated debates under. But all in all, even Billboard, the home of recency bias, agreed with Nelly in their report back then, when they posted in an article that Nelly is mostly right, and they expanded back then in the report with, when Nelly dropped his debut album, Country Grammar, in June of 2000, he managed to sell 235,000 copies the first week. Not bad for a kid most people had not heard of, who was riding the success of a single everyone found super catchy, if a bit puerile. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. The top spot was taken by Eminem, who a month earlier released his highly anticipated sophomore effort, the Marshall Mathers LP. Yes, you read that right. MMLP sold 1.78 million copies in its first week. The second week it sold 800,000. Third week, another 600,000. And then the fourth week it sold a comical 520,000 copies. That's more than double Nelly's first week. And for those keeping a running tally, that's 3.7 million copies in 1 month. Nelly would eventually claim the top spot, and he and M would duke it out for the rest of the summer before both albums will go diamond. Now this is something that's not been replicated in the new era of rap, as we just saw Playboi Carti's new, highly anticipated album move less than 300,000 copies, according to latest reports. And back then, as you saw, the fourth week of MMLP was 520,000. Things have certainly changed, and I'll throw this one over to you guys. Do you agree with Nelly that that was the toughest era in hip-hop music? And before we end it, we have an update on Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's Missionary album. As it turns out, since it released, it has earned over 66.4 million streams on Spotify. And unsurprisingly, Guns N' Smoke featuring Eminem and 50 Cent is the most streamed track on the album with 10.2 million streams. Now I was wondering if this album is still in your rotation. And overall, I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. See you on the next one.